Phil Diserio sitting down with us today and running to return to the House of Delegates in Charleston. And Phil, my first question is, why would you be the right choice in 2016 to be the person to represent your district in Charleston?
Basically for jobs. That's why I'm out there. I came from the labor community. I worked as a construction worker all my life. Not a politician. I don't want to be a lifetime politician. But when I served in the legislature previously, I was there for 3 years, and 2 of those years I was the co-chair of the Committee on Industry and Labor, which, you know, all your work bills come through. I was very proud. I took that very seriously. It gave me the opportunities to sit down with a lot of people that truly represent workers out there every day. Not necessarily, I'm a union guy, but I work with all workers. I think that everyone deserves a fair shake. I don't think the middle class is getting that. Can't solve it over the whole country, but I'm willing to start here in West Virginia.
Last election, you were voted out, and the voters decided that they wanted to replace you.
Yes, sir.
Why do you think the voters will change their mind this time around?
Through the campaign, the last campaign, throughout the state, listening to a lot of the candidates running for office and what they were running on. I don't hear them out talking about what they did. What they ran on, I don't necessarily think happened. When you had the repealing of prevailing wage, you had the right to work. I don't hear very many candidates out there right now saying how good that is. You know, I've seen the clip on social media of the Crum School District in West Virginia, where the fellow's there saying he's from Honduras and everybody else is from Mexico. I don't think that that's the best way to build a school when you have local trained workers sitting at home wondering how they're going to make ends meet when you got people from out of the country here working. I don't see anyone doing that. I don't see anyone campaigning on how great that was. We have a very serious opiate addiction problem. I think that we need to really look at that hard before we lose a whole generation. It goes full circle. I think that we need to have harsher penalties on the people that are bringing this here. We need more help for the people that are addicted to it, because I can tell you, I've seen this firsthand. Not everybody's a drug addict. You know, you're going to the doctors, you're getting pills for pain. The next thing they say is you should be healed up. We got to cut your pain medicine back. Well, that doesn't necessarily always get it, because once somebody's addicted, it's not that easy for them to say that they're healed. That's something that's very important to me. And that's why I don't know that there was enough done in the last legislative session over that. I certainly don't hear anybody campaigning that they did a good job by making our state employees pay higher wages for PEIA. So I was voted out the last time, and Ryan Weld ran a good campaign. He works very hard. He beat me. But the results that come out of Charleston, I'm not sure if all the people are so happy with that. And I guess I'll find out in just about a week.
One of the things that we heard a lot going into the last election was that people in the Northern Panhandle didn't feel connected to the happenings in Charleston, and they were frustrated with some of the decisions that were made in Charleston that impacted the Northern Panhandle. When you were a delegate, did you feel the same way, and have you worked to try to maybe change that bond that exists between the Northern Panhandle and Charleston?
Yes, you know, even I'm a little bit older than you, and so I can remember when the Northern Panhandle carried this state tax-wise. I mean, I'm not sure if it was Weirton Steel was the biggest taxpayer in the state, but I think that they were pretty close. And I think that you would hear a lot of people clear back in the mid to late 70s say the same thing about the Northern Panhandle, that they didn't think that we got better representation even when we were carrying the state. So I would certainly work to do that. I think that we have an opportunity coming up in the Northern Panhandle with some of our brownfields that we have, with the announcement of the cracker in Monaca, Pennsylvania. That's where we have to be looking for. Or, you know, that's what we need to be looking for. We need new tax structures, okay? And you can't just tax what you already have. We need to make a we need to make ourselves very attractive as a regional area. You know where we're at. We're in the northern panhandle of West Virginia. It's 5 miles wide. So we need to look regionally for everything, for work, for our fight against the opiate problem. You know as well as, the Brooke County, Weirton, Jefferson County, they all work together to try to curtail this problem. So regionally, the same thing. We need to look at that work-wise and try to make our area attractive to the spin-off from the cracker, which would be the petrochemical industry. We have many abandoned sites up and down the river, which I think the BDC has been doing a great job at getting the brownfield grants, getting this property ready to go again. And that's what we have to do. We have to go out and look for the companies to make ourselves attractive to bring good jobs here. And I'm definitely about good jobs. I don't think that we can run our municipalities on $8 an hour jobs. I have grown children, and my kids were trying to make it on those wages, and man, it's just really tough. So that's my goal, is to bring good jobs here. I can't create them, but I think that we can make an atmosphere that is at least inviting to them.
I don't have to be the first to tell you, but West Virginia went historically red in that last election. How important is party affiliation for you when we consider kind of the way West Virginia has and its residents have really been looking more towards Republicans in recent years?
Well, we did have that big swing in 14, but I think if you go back, years before that, you may have had a president elected in West Virginia, but we've maintained a Democratic governor, which I think we will again this time, my prediction. But it's not been all red. The people are here to speak. I just like for them to get good information, what candidates are really like, instead of all the advertisement you're seeing from dark money that comes around. I don't think that there's many people in either party right now locally. When I'm watching the news or seeing things on Facebook, it doesn't seem to me like any of the candidates are happy about stuff that comes out from dark money. What I call dark money, and it's super PACs, or both sides have them. Neither one of the sides of the candidates seem to like them very well, and that's me as well. I'm not a fan of the Supreme Court decision of Citizens United, and I think that has a lot to do with it. And so, when people aren't getting real facts, that's tough to make a decision. I appreciate you bringing me on here and letting me state my facts. Whether the people agree with me or not, I've accepted defeat before. I don't look for it this time, but I will take what comes my way, and the state will go on, and we'll see what happens.
One of the other questions I have to ask you about, when we sat down with Mark Zateslow and Pat McGeehan, who are two standing delegates in our area, they reiterated time and time again the budget and just how out of control things have gotten. You served when, maybe things were headed in the wrong direction. What types of things does the state need to do to get the budget under control?
Well, no one wants to hear tax. But my experience when I was in the legislature, and I think it might have been the first year I was there, I was appointed. I wasn't elected. I didn't have a guide going towards a political career. But when they cut that 2%, last 2% off the food tax, that year was our budget downfall, or shortfall, excuse me. So I see that. I don't know that you can just raise taxes on everything. That goes back to work. When you have people working, making decent money, you're spending your money in your community. You're paying your taxes, you're buying your groceries, you're buying cars, not having people come here. And I've witnessed this myself in my former job. Some of the places that have been built in our area, and not picking on one or the other, whether it was a restaurant or a hotel, or I've witnessed people in the area sleeping in these hotels that weren't complete. And it was wintertime. They had wooden doors on there. They had a camper outside. They had a couple gas grills out there. They had clothes hanging over a line where they were washing their clothes. So the people that were here building this hotel weren't supporting our restaurants. They weren't supporting our hotels, you know, getting your car serviced. Now, where I came from in the building trades, you have an opportunity to travel. You know, when there's a shortage, if we do a cracker here in the valley, it's going to take 3,000 to 5,000 construction workers. So you can bring people from the other areas, and people will say, well, what's the difference? The difference is when you're making a decent wage, you can afford to stay in one of these motels. And you can afford to go out to dinner, or at least go to the grocery store and buy your groceries and cook for yourself. You have a little bit of money to spend in the area where you're at, as well as take care of your family back home. When you're here making minimal money, you're not taking care of any of the tax base around here. As I say, I'll go back to, you know, I have some friends that are mayors, and, you know, ask any of them, can you run your municipality on $8 an hour jobs? And you can't do it, you know. So I think that I can work with people. I do sit down with people. I have sat with people that are leaders, you know. I mean, it shows who I believe in, I think, in some of the endorsements I have with the United Mine Workers, the United Steel Workers, the West Virginia AFT, West Virginia Education Association, West Virginia Nurses Association, the certified public accountants, optometrists. So it's not just labor people, you know, I'm there. I always give people the opportunity to come into my office when I was in Charleston. I was disappointed in that. I spent a lot of time in Charleston over the last session, and I was surprised at how many doors were closed and locked. And I heard that from a number of people. And I can say that when I was in Charleston, unless it was a private matter or my office partner or I was on the phone with a family member or something private, our door was never closed and never, ever locked. You know, it might have been closed if we were talking to somebody, but never, ever locked. I think that people want to talk to, you know, the representatives. They want to let you know what they need. And I'm all about middle-class people. That's the family that I was raised in. That's the family that I've raised. My kids were raised in a middle-class environment in Brooke County. Great school system. You know, I mean, my baby's at WVU now on a Promise Scholarship, and my other kids went West Liberty and Ohio State. Very proud of them. You know, so, you know, you can talk about our teachers. You can talk about we're 50th and everything. Well, you know, parents got to have a little bit in the game. If you want to make a good workforce, you know, you can't expect teachers to be nurses and doctors and teachers and babysitters. You got, as a parent, and congratulations on your newborn, you have to have a little skin in the game. You know, you got to make sure your kids gets a good night's sleep. You got to make sure they got some food in their belly. You got to make sure they did their homework. You can't send them to school and want somebody else to say, well, I'll take care of all this. So I think it all plays hand in hand. Jobs are my major concern. I think that you'll see when you have a bad environment, bad things happen. You know, addiction will come in, crime will come in. So when you have an environment of a young person getting out of high school, and not everyone's cut out to be going to college. I didn't do that. You know, I went to the building trades and work. So there's jobs out there, but they're not the jobs that I had when I was younger. So a lot of people, they don't see that vision. They aren't able to make that goal. You know, I want to buy a house, and I want to have this car. I want to have a family. When the jobs aren't there, you know, to me, it all comes full circle and nothing good happens. So,
Phil Diserio, thank you so much, and good luck on Election Day. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Okay.
No problem.